So let's start with a new one. So here I have all these I paint with watercolors mostly. I really like neon. I really like all kinds of colors. But I also have a bunch of paint pens. So I'm just going to talk about what happens, tell the story sort of play by play as far as painting. So sometimes a color will jump out at me, like this color jumped out at me. And there was no thought to it. It was just so clear that that was the color. And then I can sort of look at it. A lot of times I'll do sort of some vectoring, which kind of, what does vectoring mean? It just kind of means I'll sort of draw without drawing anything, and it's almost like the body is sort of creating or remembering or coming up with different ideas, but not putting anything down. Or I'll just make some dots like I did here, and see how I'm just sort of painting these flowers or trees in my mind, but I didn't actually paint anything. But the energy was there, right? Yeah. And so, when I sort of grab another color and go back to it, it's there was some energy there. And sort of starts to happen where I start, creating some things. And for whatever reason, and there's no sort of why is this happening, but for whatever reason, there's a lot of rivers, a lot of water in my work, and a lot of pathways that sort of start in a perspective manner, start where I'm sort of looking far away. And so there can be sort of a natural scale that can develop. I'm just going to do a little tree here, and so we're going. I really like to listen to things when I make art. Usually I listen to non-dual speakers or music or talk to a friend. But yeah, it's nice to sort of start a painting and talk out loud. And there's no thought. It's then the orange sort of jumped out at me. Sometimes I'll sort of see it beforehand, and sometimes not. Sometimes it's more of a body thing. And I think that, in talking to different people about what's going on with them, with art, a lot of people sort of struggle with the blank page. They have this blank page and they're I don't know what to do. And many people sort of look at stuff when they draw, whether they go outside or look at photographs or other people's drawings. There's no right way. That's beautiful. I went to art school and I did a lot of that. To me, and it's just a personal preference, it just feels so fun to literally not know what I'm going to do next. So that's my personal preference. Another way that I draw, I'm just going to do a little bit more orange. Another way I draw, other than sort of color to color, is by hearing. And what I mean by that is, well, like I'll hear some kind of knocking. Let's switch to paint. Yeah. And how can I describe it? Even the sound of this sort of swooshing that's happening. It's so clear that, just swooshing wants to happen. So what I mean, and it might be easier to hear with this marker, is, I don't know if you can hear those little dots, but somehow the sort of pitter-patter sound is very important to the work somehow. And somehow, this pitter-patter or whatever sound the marker or the paintbrush are making just feels like it's sort of guiding it. My background is in music. My dad's a musician, professional, and I used to perform and stuff, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I always felt like sight was my absolute weakest sense, like not that, I mean, I can see, but some people can really see, and they're always sort of talking about their visual stimuli. I wasn't like that at all. I sort of have always focused more on sound and feeling, like physical feeling. Yeah. As you sort of go in, of course, like if you've done something before, you've sort of painted a flower before, it's sort of just like the body remembers. What I really love about painting from memory is that, hear that? What I love about painting from memory is that rather than feeling like, these look kind of like hydrangeas, rather than feeling all this pressure to make this sort of perfect hydrangea, really, it's not a hydrangea. I'm really, whenever people ask me, like, what is that? I always kind of laugh and say, it's paint. It's paint on paper, and it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not a joke. It's kind of like, rather than saying like, oh, it's a tree, it's a mountain, it's a frog, it's your mom. Like, rather than saying that, it's like, who cares? Like, it's paint on paper. That's what it is. It's not supposed to be anything else. And what do you see? So as I sort of go in and, like paint, obviously, like I've painted before, and the body can sort of remember how to paint certain things. And that's just, people call it practice. I mean, you could call it a practice, or you could call it practice makes perfect, but it's really just the body is called to paint or it's not. And you can look at somebody painting and you can feel like, oh man, I wish I could paint that way, but if it doesn't feel natural to do, you might not do it, and that's beautiful. That's okay. I can look at somebody dancing or mountain climbing. Yeah. And wow. It's amazing, but it's just not happening. It's not happening. What's happening for this body is painting and writing and talking a little bit. And that's just like what's happening. So, you know, I'm not really sure as far as like the main problem that people have told me about, where they look at a blank piece of paper and they're like, what do I do with this? Like what to say about it, you know, what to say to do about it. Other than like, absolutely, who cares? Like, do not think about it at all. But, you know, there's no control. I mean, if there's thought happening, there's thought happening. You know, who am I? Who am I painting? And the whole story of who I am, it's so meaningless. Who cares? And, you know, but if painting's not happening, then painting's not happening, you know? And that's so beautiful. There's other things that you can do, you know? But if painting is happening, you know, I mean, I wake up and I paint every day. And the more the body wakes up and paints every day, the more it has like experience, you know. Then it has experience, and then the body just like you would do anything else. Make a sandwich, tell a story. How many thousands of times have you, you know, made a sandwich or told a story, you know? It's just what's happening. And beautiful, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if it is perfect, and I know from experience when I've tried to, you know, had a vision and made it exactly how it was in my mind, I pretty much threw it in the garbage because I was like, who cares? Like, it's so much more exciting when I have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't mean who cares from this place of being hard on my work. I just mean like I wasn't excited about it. I didn't even want it, you know? So it's like sometimes we can feel more excited about work and then we want to share it. Sometimes in my work, I feel like I make a mess. Like I do something and I'm just like, fuck, I don't like it, you know? And, or a little bit of tension comes into my body. It's not really about how it looks. The slightest bit of tension comes into my body. And, yeah. So what I say to that is erase it. What I've seen a lot of times in people's work, like friends and family, I have a lot of painters in my family, and people often will sort of hold on to their work, you know, like I can tell they don't like it. I can tell they're not excited, about it. Sometimes I just do that, like random, like take a whole bottle of paint and chuck it on. And they sort of hold on to it. They're not pleased with it, and they move from part to part of the painting, and they're not pleased, and they're not pleased, and then they're not pleased, you know, whatever. So, I mean, if you don't like something, my old drawing professor said to me, if you don't like the drawing, kill it. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And now I understand what he means perfectly. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, who cares if anyone else does, right? So destroy it, you know, like paint right on top of it, cut it up and make a collage, you know, anything you're the least bit unsatisfied with it, you know, kill it. So again, hearing, I love, you know, just the little details of, but I just hear it, and I don't know if you can hear that. Love it. Okay. What's that called? I don't even know. It's so crazy what just sort of appears. I think it's called a senator.